Hello viewers, this is AKWasp and welcome to my ZMI Altar Runecrafting guide. As you can see, I just got my level 99 runecrafting skill and I'm pretty excited about it and wanted to share with the community the fastest way to level up your runecrafting, which at the moment is still ZMI Runecrafting. And it's also assisting effigies is another excellent way to do it. Now, I'm just going to go over stuff like what gear I recommend bringing and how to actually perform the activity. First of all, let me just sort these skill capes away. This is the way I keep track of my 99s in order. Now, anyways, basically what you want in your inventory is you want to have all the pouches you have access to. So if you don't have at least a large pouch, which is a level 50 runecrafting requirement, you definitely shouldn't be attempting ZMI runecrafting. I recommend it for I recommend it for level 70 and higher, and it's that's when it really starts becoming profitable. And at level 75 you unlock the giant pouch, which increases your runecrafting capability and basically is a lot better. So if you want to do something else at 75, that's a good method. A lot of players like to do the ZMI Altar until they can get to reliable double astrals or something like that, and then they do that, or they'll do double natures. But at the end of the day, the double, or not the double, the ZMI runecrafting is the fastest way. So what you want to do is you want to have a full bank. So your entire total number of available free and members bank spaces need to be full. Normally you'll probably have a relatively full bank as it is. What I like to do is when I'm doing this, I just fill it up. I go to Varrock and I go to the fancy dress store and I go to the smithing store and I just buy a bunch of bronze armors and robes and other garbage, which is pretty easy to drop and completely doesn't set you back anything. And you also want to have a hefty stack of pure essence because you can only use pure essence. And the nice thing about, I don't know when they update this exactly, but now you can actually fill your runecrafting pouches directly from the bank interface, which makes it a lot nicer and a lot faster. And as you can see like this, banking is a lot faster because you don't have to exit, fill, and rebank every time that you're using the bank. So anyways, you have to have, pretty much to do this reliably, you have to have the Ourania teleport. So the ZMI altar is actually called an Ourania an Ourania altar. If you look it up on the RS wiki, that's actually what's listed under. ZMI is just what's colloquially named as. Everyone knows as ZMI, but technically it's the Ourania altar. So anyways, when you teleport there, you walk over to this ladder. There's an altar nearby if you need to restore your prayer potion, or not your prayer points. And then there's also a banker here, but unlike other bankers in this game, this banker is not free. He requires 20 runes every time you want to bank. So I recommend using whatever the cheapest rune is at the time. For a long time that was fire runes, but now fire runes are actually quite expensive. So body runes, which are probably the most useless rune in the game, are probably going to, from now on, be the cheapest way to do it. Basically, yeah, you just take out your pure essence, and you want to make sure that you have a full bank. That way, when you hit the quick deposit button, only all your runecrafted runes go into the bank and nothing else. So I'll also I'll demonstrate that a bit better in a moment when we actually have some runes crafted. But I'll go over my inventory or my equipment setup. Equipment's not really important. Basically, if you have an agility top or bottom, those are great items to wear because they reduce your weight, and the lower your weight is, the more often you can run. If you don't have a high agility level, you'll probably want to use the super energy restore potions, or just energy restore potions, or maybe even a spirit terror bird. I don't recommend using an abyssal lurker or any kind of runecrafting familiar because those just tend to take longer to fill up and are not really beneficial. The only one you might want to consider is a Spirit Terror Bird if it's for the run energy. You really want to use an RD Cloak Preferably, I think it's a level 2 one. So if you can accomplish the medium RD diary, it increases your rune yield by 15%. I don't think it actually affects, yeah, it doesn't actually affect the experience, but it does increase the profitability of ZMI Runecrafting. Now, normally people tend to think that ZMI Runecrafting is not profitable, but that's not true. If you're above level 90 or so, you'll actually be making in excess of 100k an hour. Now, that is relatively unprofitable as far as runecrafting goes, because normally you're making well over a half million GP per hour, you know, upwards of that. And so 100k is not much, but it's not a loss. If you're below level 70 and you're trying to do ZMI, then it may be slightly of a loss. And the reason is because you have to use pure essence when you're runecrafting, and also you don't always get consistent runes. The runes are random and they're based on your level. So the higher level you are, the better runes you're going to get, and that increases your profitability. Now the other items are I just like to have prayer boosting items. And then I also highly recommend a regenerative bracelet because it really increases your health restoration. And if you have the rapid renewal prayer unlocked from dungeoneering, I just leave it on at all times. In fact, not a bad idea just to set it as your quick prayer so that you can click this and just leave it on and forget about it. And it's always on. And so the rest of my inventory is mainly geared at having, you know, relatively decent defenses, but not super important, because with rapid renewal plus the regenerative bracelet, I don't even bother using any protection prayers, because you'll always heal up to full health faster than anything can possibly hit you. And just by having a high prayer boosting gear, you basically see how slow that drop rate is going. It's really slow. So totally unnecessary, but it's what I recommend. Also, the Mystic Staff is real nice because it lets you it gives you all the earth runes you need for the teleport, and it also gives you other runes which you may need for the for the yeah, it's just really beneficial for anything that has to do with lunars, and you should clearly be on the lunar spellbook. Anyways, it's definitely faster to go along the short route, which, you know, might be pretty obvious by the fact that it's called a short route. But basically, the short route has monsters, whereas the long route is completely safe. But the monsters don't hit you very much. And if you're using an actual ZMI Runecrafting world, then you pretty much won't get hit much at all, because the monsters will be hitting all the just mass lines of people who are everywhere. And yeah, it's but the downside is the lag, and also the banker moves around quite a bit that way. So anyways, once you've crafted your runes, just teleport back to the altar. And if you're below level 90, really, I'd recommend actually bringing stacks of laws and astrals with you, because you might not always make enough. But if you're above 90, then see, now you don't need to restore your prayers every single time you come by here, because it's just unnecessary. You have so much prayer, and with the high restore rate, it's just, you do it maybe once every 5 or 6 strips or something like that. Anyways, just bank like this with the body runes, and look at this. You hover over this button, empty your backpack into your bank. Boom, you click that, and all your pouches and your body runes stay in your inventory, and everything else nicely deposited into your bank, which makes filling up your pouches a lot faster, and it just makes your overall more efficient, and you get right back into runecrafting way faster. And that's pretty much all there is to it. The general amount of experience that you can expect from runecrafting this method is anywhere from 35 to 40k an hour if you're really efficient at it. It is random, but you know, it's also somewhat consistent in the randomcy. That doesn't really make sense necessarily, but it's true. You will be getting relatively consistent rates at about 35k an hour to maybe 40k an hour if you're really, managing your clicks well. Otherwise, it could vary a bit. If you're just, playing casually, it could be a bit lower. Downside again is you're not making as good money as you would if you were using the Abyss or another method, perhaps like Garrett King Double Natures. But it is definitely the fastest way to gain experience in the game per hour. Now, I got a lot of my experience, or I know a lot of the high-level players got most of their experience from effigies. That's one way to do it. Personally, I think that investing your effigies into summoning might be a better idea until you have max summoning. But if you put your effigies into runecrafting, that was a good idea. But now effigies are nerfed, so there's not really too much to think about it. But what you can do is you can get your 30k experience a day, which is real nice, and that I got a lot of experience that way with 30k a day by going over to World 117 and assisting players who are trying to open their own effigies. So you get your 30k experience a day, and it's real nice. See, like this other player over here is using protection prayers, and if you're just using the rapid look how fast that's healing up. You will be at full health before you ever get back to the banker. And I'm not exactly sure what the breakpoint level is for agility, but where's agility? Which one? This walking guy. This at 99 agility, you'll always be able to run. So there's not really too much to think about. And this concludes my ZMI Runecrafting guide. I hope everybody found it to be informative, and perhaps this has changed your opinion against hating runecrafting, because I know it's pretty much a hated skill, and it's definitely very difficult to level, but ZMI makes it pretty fast, and you make a little bit of profit on the way. So please come back for additional content, and have a great day.